Hey everybody, what's going on? Oh, I'm gonna need your help tonight because I forgot to take my pen and my notes on the train, so I'm flying sort of blind tonight about what I want to talk about. I want to talk about all things progressive, of course. There's so much going on as per usual. Geez, just to start off, the insaneness of this wall, and the thing about the wall is that you almost don't want to get into that whole intellectual discussion about how stupid it is that you would want a wall over infrastructure and healthcare. If someone offered you a wall instead, you're like, a wall. Tell me more about the wall, because the wall sounds interesting. Is it going to be tall? Will it have lasers? What the fuck do you need a wall for, people? By the time they finish this fucking wall, they're going to have drones to fly over the fucking wall. What are we doing? What are we doing? But on that same note, I want to talk a little bit about the intellectualism of the left. A lot of times when you try to get into this movement, particularly locally, you are going to get that sort of pushback from Democrats, corporate Democrats, who know more than you. They know the system more than you. They know all the ins and outs. So when you come in as a newbie, they just laugh at you, and it's that whole Sank impersonation. It really does exist. They're like, oh, really? You want to get involved with the process? You know nothing. That's the attitude you get. That smarmy fucking Bill Maher, I know more shit than you. And really, it's just a matter of time for you to figure out the system. The reason why I bring this up is I have to sort of relate to where I am in my life. I went down to New Jersey. I don't really know their politics. I'm just getting involved. Today, they voted down a gender equality bill for pay. So Chris Christie had vetoed it, and they couldn't get the votes to pass gender equality pay in New Jersey. Is this fucking real? Is this for real? Is this seriously? Is this 2017? We're trying to pass gender equality pay? So then I have to go through and I got to find all my representatives. I don't even know who my representatives are. I barely know my districts. You have to know your district number. You got to know your county. You have to know the representative. You have to go through all this bullshit. So are you prepared to go through all this bullshit? Because it's a lot of bullshit. And on that note, just to give you guys a little happiness, there was this guy in Philly, I forget his name. He accidentally on the air said that Kelly Conway is just full of bullshit. He meant to say BS. He said, Kelly Conway, she's just full of bullshit. And wouldn't that be better reporting? Isn't that the reporting we're looking for when people just talk authentically? When people are just so fed up that they have to curse? All right, so let's stay on track. So what did I do today? Because that's the other thing that you always see with all these different live streams, and then when you post shit on your wall, people are always either mucking it up or getting in your way or questioning it or slowing down, like what you're doing. Like, why are you doing that? Like that, what's that gonna do? I fucking don't know. I have to try it first, all right? Let me try it, and then we'll see what it does. So I called Joe Donnelly from Indiana about the drug importation amendment. I actually got to speak to a person, but you do get the feeling like, if you're not from the state, they really don't care. If you're not going to vote for that representative, they're really not going to care. So you're throwing me off down there. Talk about the liberal haters. They're not even liberal haters. They're people that just gunk up whatever you try to do. Like if you try to do something like, well, phone calls aren't the best. Or like, I'll give you another example. This new Justice Democrats that the TYT is starting with Sank and some of the former members from the Bernie Sanders campaign, all of a sudden everybody's all upset. Oh, this is bullshit. The Justice Democrats, you can't do that. What is that going to do? How is that going to help? Well, first of all, calm the fuck down. All it's going to do is going to bring more information. They're trying to bring non-politicians into the system. And yes, it may fail miserably, but what is your plan? What is your plan? What are you doing? Tell me what you are doing that's better than that. If they're bringing non-politicians in to push progressive and they have a platform, and they have people, and they have a way to spread that around as far as information. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing except getting on live stream and complaining about Justice Democrats? You can't. That doesn't make any sense. Like, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you gunking up the works? So, a lot of people try stuff, do stuff, and then immediately people are like, well, why? I have a friend who's watching right now. She's starting a climate march in Indiana. And the first thing there was like, well, why are we marching? Like, what's this all about? Where do we do it? All these questions to like slow it down. Instead of like being, all right, yeah, let's go out there and do it. People slow it down. So you get a lot of that on live stream. And you get a lot of pushback even when you report anything. Like, people ask you the strangest questions you have to answer back. Like, I posted tonight that Tulsi went to Syria, and she came back and she said, basically, I've been to Syria, and the bottom line is U.S. has to stop funding moderate rebels because there's no such thing as moderate rebels. This is bullshit. That's a bullshit narrative. We got to stay out of this war that some people call a proxy war between Russia and the U.S. So Tulsi came back and basically said, stay out of the war. And people are like, well, what do you mean moderate? You mean, aren't they all just radical? I mean, she says basically stop funding the rebels. You know what I'm trying to say. Why do I have to get in a conversation with you about that? That's a very sort of a simple concept that I know you're understanding, but now I have to get into a conversation with you to Facebook to try to explain. And that's what slows everything down, is just like people want to have these really bizarre conversations that do nothing to further the movement. I'll give you another example. And this is sort of talking out of school, but people are Bernie haters that he didn't go after election fraud. Well, that's not his gig, man. He's moving on. Sorry that doesn't appeal to you. You push the election fraud. He's moving on to other stuff. He's moving on to other battles. Well, I'm not here to nitpick on every little person that's trying to actually do something progressive. If you have a better idea on the way to take progressive action, then let us know. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it's always got to be. If you have something that you think is going to work better, then we definitely want to know about it. But to just tear down everything, every progressive movement, is just not the way to go. And that comes back to this broadcast about how you do have to always be thinking about, how do we reach out to the other people? How do we get to them? How are we going to get to other people to join the movement? I got to read your guys' comments. I'm so sorry. I'm not joining the Justice Democrats. It's just not my path, but I will most... Of course, who's asking you to join the Justice Democrats? Nobody. They said, and I watched Sank today, and he just said, if you want to donate and if you want to get involved, sign up. But I bet you some of their information is going to bleed onto your page one day. I bet you're going to find out about candidates that you're going to support through Justice Democrats. You can not support them all you want, but it's going to get to you. Their movement is going to bleed into you. You're going to hear about stuff that they do. So that's fine. That's cool. Let's see. I got to go back to see what you guys are saying. Yes. I like how they're getting funds. No corporate donations. Right. That's Justice Democrats. And again, when I talk about Justice Democrats, I'm using it as example as when people tear things down for no good reason. And that's something that I really think has to stop. But anyway, getting back to phone calls and taking action, and then people, again, so basically I'm asking you, from whatever state you are, you have to call your senators. That has to be a done deal. Why do I say that? Well, I know they report on it because Pennsylvania is really pissed off about Betsy DeVos, and they've made over 50,000 phone calls to their senators saying, to vote against Betsy DeVos. And I've already called Booker about the drug importation. I've slammed him on his page. I sort of enjoy that. I cannot get through Bob Menendez's office. I have called 5-10 times, cannot get through there. So that's really frustrating. He'll call numbers that don't work. So this, again, is work intensive, and I'm asking you guys to at least, at the very, 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 very least, call your senators. That's like your duty. If you consider yourself a progressive and you're not calling your senators, you're doing a lot of talk, no action. And then after that, you got to work locally, and you have to learn all your representatives, all your districts, all the people who represented that district. You've got to add them on Facebook. You have to know who they are. And yes, it's a lot of bullshit work, but you have to do it. If you don't get involved on the local level, you're really probably not doing anything either, because that's where you're going to grow the movement. That's where you're going to meet other people. That's where you're actually going to have one-on-one conversations, when you actually go outside your comfort zone in your local area. Whew. All right. Let's see. I'm sorry, this thing was scrolled up, so now I got to scroll down again. See what's going on. Yeah, I called Booker. I got through to his office. I got through Joe Donnelly's office. Couldn't get through Lamar Alexander. Couldn't get through Bob Menendez. Didn't make enough phone calls. I'll be honest with you today. Did not make enough phone calls. It gets a little frustrating when you start to call and you can't get through. So, that's the biggest issue is, and like I said, when you make the phone call, whatever you do, post it. Make sure you post it on your Facebook, because you're always sort of put that pressure and guilt on other people to make phone calls and to do things. Also, don't forget to add me, Matt Stueck, because I'm always posting articles that I want you to share. Like, that's the other thing that drives me insane. You post stuff all the time, and then no one shares it. You're like, they like it. Oh, I like it, but they don't share it. So no one even takes the time to press the share button to share important information. That's how lazy we've become as progressives. Yeah, that's a good point on that post you made, but I'm not going to share it or anything. So yeah, what else is going on? The Philly protests, which is great. I thought the numbers were great today. If you didn't know, Trump was in Philly. The protest I thought was really great. I don't know who put it together. I would love to know. And of course, when you ever watch live, you always have these, right-wing Republicans are always like, why don't these people have jobs? Or how come yeah, like protesting is easy. Like getting up, getting dressed, standing in the cold, making signs, that's tough. But they want these people to get jobs. So I always love turning into the live streams and hearing this bullshit from the right. They don't want us to protest, man, but they're going to get a lot of it. They're going to be so. Marie Cantel, I want to know. What Marie Cantel? So Marie Cantel is from Washington, and she's on the border of She's in Washington on the border of Canada. Kim Johnson says Marie Cantel surely ticked me off, and she heard about it. So Kim contacted Marie Cantel, and like I said, make sure you go to Marie Cantel's Facebook, even if you're not there. I will tell you the thing that drives me crazy about like Booker. If you go to Booker's website and you see the number of people that like when he turned down the drug importation amendment, there is way more likes. Like way more people are supporting that action than are angry with him, just on Facebook. So if you look at a little Facebook poll, I mean, there's no way we're going to primary that guy out, because the audience is just, his audience, his people are just so supportive of him. So, yeah, Joey Scola says, someone should make an app with all the phone numbers instead with an easy way to call. I totally agree, Joey. There is an app that I downloaded called Countable. I didn't open it up today. I think that's sort of on the take, and you reminded me that I have to open up that app. It's called Countable. Obviously, Countable. I don't know if it's any good, but check it out. Karen Reese says Alec is plotting away. They need to go. I don't know when their next meeting is. Let me fly back here. Good, I shared off your page. That's Tony. Yeah, I know, Tony, you did. Tony Barber did share off my page. Some people are sharing off my page. And I'm just saying, like, simple actions that you can take that people don't do it's mind-blowing. You didn't finish reading my comment. You jumped the gun. Oh, that might be the Tulsi person. I'm not sure. Countable. Yeah, thank you, Mary Jane. Countable is the app that you can download, but I have no idea if it's any good. So you're going to have to check that out, report back to me. So let's go, Karen. I'm not joining the Justin Democrats. It's just not my path, but I will most definitely support those who want to do this. Okay, let's take this country over in every way possible, right? See, it becomes impossible for us to lose. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to be supportive of anybody who's trying something progressive. I'm always going to be skeptical about anything. But again, I have to, it's not like we know everything, so you have to give it a second. What if we learn, what if a great politician comes out of that movement? Just one. And that's the whole thing about the people who really get on Bernie Sanders. They nitpick about him. Well, show me somebody else. With Clinton and Trump and Bernie, who really, was Trump or Clinton even close to Bernie? So that's what I'm saying. You're always looking for that next Bernie, the next Tulsi, the next Nina Turner. That's what we're looking for, who's willing to run. So that's why Justice Democrats, and I know the word Democrats just makes people just, cringe. I know that that we're really still looking for like serious progressives. I get that. But again, I get that. So I understand if that's your feeling. I know that a lot of people want to be super progressive, but if you want to be super progressive, you've got to do your homework, man. Like I said, and I'm telling you this from my own heart. I've been doing this for years, but I don't know New Jersey that well. I don't know the districts. I don't know all the people who today voted against gender equality in New Jersey. They couldn't override Chris Christie, who vetoed, and I'm sorry I'm focusing on New Jersey. I'm just giving you an example. I don't know what's going on in your state. And that's why, again, it's almost insane that more people don't live stream. These candidates don't use their Facebook to live stream because they certainly could, right? So they have all these social media tools that your local representatives could be using. They're not using them. So that's what sort of bothers me. It's almost like they don't want you to know. It's almost like they really want to keep you in the dark. I hope, oh my gosh, Tony Barber says, countable tells issues that are current and you need to act on. That's not great because, like I said, it is about phone calling and getting used to doing that because it's not a pleasant experience. Anybody tells you it is. And all right, so here's an example of how I know that nobody made phone calls after I made a post. So I mistakenly said on my wall today that if you called a senator and you didn't get through, you should call Bernie Sanders' office and tell him, because I had heard that from somebody else, and I didn't source it, so I made a mistake and I posted it. But only one person contacted me and said, "What are you talking about?" Because I called Bernie Sanders' office and they have no idea what you're talking about. So they called Senator Schumer's office and they couldn't get through, and they called Bernie Sanders and they said, "Oh, we're not tracking this." But I would tell you that Bernie Sanders is trying to do something different where if you, I don't know how they're doing this yet. I don't know if it's some sort of extension, but they're making it so that if you call through this Bernie Sanders, I don't know if it's a website or I don't know how they're doing this, but anyway, Bernie Sanders is trying to, if you can't get through to the White House, that they'll push you to one of Trump's properties to complain at one of his properties that he owns. Now, Bernie is upping the trolling, and that is on my wall. I can't source that right now, but that's definitely happening. So I'm not sure. So I got 10 more minutes. Let me just check. So what else is going on today? I'm trying to think. So still, the protests are going to go on this week. So that's going to be really important that you share those protests. A lot of people out there do want to start marches, and I think that's another thing you should start thinking about is local marches. That's a great way to organize, get people back, enthused. So because people are always. Chris said, hold on. Rosemary says we need to force our senators, reps to reveal who their donors are, especially the big corp ones. Yeah, and I think Open Secret has that. Chris Franco Jennings says, I fear for this Justice Dem thing, getting primaried stings. Yeah, well, like I said, but I feel like you have to try something, right? I mean, the thing that drives me crazy is when people just say, well, there's nothing we can do. It's the worst thing you could say. I'll give you another thing that I'll tell you. I'll have another confession for you. Somebody gave out. So there's 5 calls of action, and the other one was to call the Army Corps of Engineers, and I didn't do it. And then you know why I didn't do it? Because I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to say when I'm calling. Like, who am I talking to at the Army Corps of Engineers? That seems like it's way above who I should be calling. So I posted the number, but I didn't call myself because I guess you're supposed to say, hey, could you please do an assessment of the North Dakota pipeline? I'm not even sure like what the script is. So I'll be honest with you, I was fearful and I didn't call the Army Corps. But go to 5calls.org. Every day they're going to give you 5 actions. Today was to call against Price and Pruitt and Sessions. It was to call the Army Corps of Engineers, and there was one more I can't remember. But like this is all simple stuff, right? I mean, all the appointees have to be called. And, it's funny because I'll just give you another thing about pushback, which is just so crazy. Kristen Gillibrand from New York, who was a Hillary supporter, she's voted against all the appointees so far. And then when you post that, people are like, oh, I hate her. Like, yes, I know you hate her, but she's doing the right thing. There's no way anybody can vote. And that's why it's always, why are they voting yes? Is it gamesmanship? Do you have to vote yes just to sort of appease Trump? You have to sort of be like, is there a reasoning behind that? You can't vote them all no because they all should be voted no. So Kim says, I fear Standing Rock is going to end in bloodshed. David Bedford says, Justice Democrats aren't factoring in election fraud. It seems the establishment always was, especially with their factional voting. House always wins. Right. So election fraud has been the topic of the day for super progressives. And that's great. So who do you think is going to stop and start getting caught in the quagmire of going through election fraud? None of them. Because that's just going to weigh them down. So that's really on us to do. I don't really know how you're going to make a change there. You need to have progressive people who come out and speak to the issues and people start listening because it worked. The reason why you have to people have to ease off Bernie is it worked. Now maybe Tulsi is your girl, or maybe Nina Turner is somebody you want to run. But just remember that it did work. What Bernie did work. People raised money. He was able to raise phenomenal amounts of money. And we can sit here all day and talk about election fraud and what he didn't do. But that doesn't help anybody who doesn't have health care. That doesn't help anybody who's poor and is going to have their SNAP taken away. It doesn't help anybody. What the fuck does that do? Make you feel better? Make you feel like you're in the movement? You got to make phone calls. You got to organize. You can't sit there and just yell at a screen. You can't. It's silly. It's you crazy. Election Justice USA, they do some great work there. They've got some great people there. That's from Aaron Devine. Freddie Flores says, something the Justice Dems should do to their mission, statement, platform is superdelegates. Not sure. Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, see, that makes sense. Superdelegates, definitely. We should be slamming superdelegates. That's what you should be slamming. That's the issues that we should be slamming. If there's election fraud, superdelegates was it, right? They put that in place so Bernie never had a chance. It's got to go. The Republicans don't even have that. As much as we hate the Republicans, they have a better, more fair system because they couldn't block Trump from running. They couldn't block him from winning, but they certainly were going to probably block Bernie even if he won. There was a good chance those superdelegates were going to still give it to Clinton, coming up with something, saying that she was a better candidate. So yeah, I totally agree with Freddie on that. And that, to me, makes more sense. You're not going to have people sit there and start talking about election fraud and go backwards. There's no time. I just sort of don't understand if you get that. There's no time to go backwards and point at election fraud because then they're going to weigh you down. They're going to weigh Bernie down and go, yeah, let's go back to election fraud, though. That's one of your, no. He's got to move on. That's my belief. That's what I think he's doing. He's thinking about bigger issues, bigger things. He's thinking about drug importation amendments to get cheaper drugs. He's thinking about health care for all. He's thinking about bigger issues. If he gives them something to slow him down, as people do when you're talking about taking, this was perfect circular conversation. Whenever you say you're taking action, somebody always dismisses it. Always somebody has something to say about whether it's going to work or whether it's not going to work or whether it's good. But then we do nothing? Tell me what to do. So that's the basic point of this. What do we do? You tell me what we do, and I'll listen. And like I said, Freddie had a great idea. Super delegates. Okay, let's get rid of them. Let's put some serious pressure. Let's figure out how we, and yes, I've heard that before, and that's so true. Rosemary is bank exit. You can do the Dem exit. I'm sure everybody on this page is Dem exiting. I'm in the Green Party down in New Jersey, but I'm willing to listen to all people. I have so much to learn about all the candidates, all my representatives. I don't know jack. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I do. But bank exit always comes up when I get into these little tiffs with people. Bank exit is true. But are people going to bank exit? I can't get people to make phone calls. Are people really going to go and pull their money and put it into a credit union? I don't know. Kim Johnson says, we fight. We fight. Yeah, definitely we fight. So I don't know what other the other big, I got 2 minutes left. So go to my page, Matt Stueck, because unfortunately tonight I wasn't able to write any of my notes down from everything that I shared on the page. I did call Joe Donnelly of Indiana today and told him about drug importation, and I told him about Betsy DeVos. I did try to call Bob Menendez, couldn't get through. Lamar Alexander, I should have made more phone calls. I definitely failed today. But I hope you guys made your phone calls. I hope that you've called your state, your senators, and at least left a message, because it does have an effect. There was a big article on Pennsylvania that's been really calling about Betsy DeVos. They're really pissed off, which is like so great to know that Pennsylvania is now pissed off about what the fuck Trump is doing. So that's a good sign. And I think that's inspirational, for us to know, okay, states are swinging back now. They're swinging back the other way. They're taking action. The states that we lost, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Florida, we got to work on these now. So do me a favor, make some phone calls, let me know. Tell me somebody you called. Tell me some of the actions that you're taking. Tell me what you think we should do. That's what's important. Just sitting there and yelling at a screen and sort of tearing everybody's progressive actions down is not going to do it. All right, guys. That's it from me. I got to go. Not me, us. Remember that. Take action. Share my posts. Go to my Facebook page. Share the stream here at Real Progressives. Do everything you can to push the progressive movement. Don't slow it down. All right? I love you guys.